in truth, it's up to us all, right? And one of the huge problems with climate change, one of the reasons why it is so intractable, is because everyone thinks it's someone else's problem, right? And all of the nations of the world need to act together, and that's a pretty tricky thing to do, especially when the thing that you're trying to get us to act on is the thing that's given us all of this, right? So we all need to act to sort of change our preferences and priorities. And here's a few of them. So, of course, if you're thinking of having another child, that's going to consume quite a lot of carbon. So, I know most of you here probably are not thinking of having another child at this stage, but if you know someone who is, no, I mean... don't tell them I said that. So obviously our choices around how we use carbon-consuming things are pretty fundamental.
What if your child does all of those things all at once?
Yeah, if you do have children, try and reduce their emissions. I actually have a huge problem with this graph because the average annual carbon emission, Greta's going to shake her head at this, per person in Australia is 16 tonnes. Get yours below that. Okay, so that's something we can do at an individual level. But really, it's not about each one of us being perfect or anyone being perfect, but all of us just pushing a little bit of our own lifestyles, in our choices in supermarkets, in what we buy. And companies around the world, people I work with in the agricultural industries are going, how do we build our credibility to be, regenerative, to be carbon neutral, to do all these things? So we as consumers vote when we shop. That's a fundamental thing. We also vote at the ballot box. That's another choice. And we also influence the people around us, right? So we have these spheres of influence and we can act around those sort of things. The other really vital thing that sort of is a key message that comes out of a lot of the science around climate change is that we need to make the systems that we work with more resilient to change. So whether it's your wetland out here that's going to be inundated and is going to retreat, how do you allow it to retreat? How do you find pathways for things to change? And a lot of these sorts of organisations are really working on that sort of stuff. So we can do stuff locally to ensure that the ecosystems upon which we depend are maintained into the future. And a lot of that is very local scale action, right? And as Greta pitched before with Red Map, and there's all sorts of opportunities around this, and increasingly more of them, it takes a village. It takes all of us to understand the changes that are going on and to work out how to act on them. So we, as researchers, are increasingly reaching out to community and going, look, we don't have the resources, we don't have the people, we don't have the ability to collect all this data, but you've got one of these things in your pocket that you can help us, collect those data with. And when we do that, we get a better understanding of how things are changing and hopefully, therefore, be able to push to manage. And really our governments do listen to some of the science around. I mean, fisheries is a classic example. That the science of fisheries really pushes the way fisheries are regulated in such a clear and strong way. And I think we can't lose hope in that sort of effect. So the third part of talking to people, it's not hard to have this discussion, right? A lot of people might push back at you and go, it's all the proverbial, but really, we can all, have these discussions and push things along. So Catherine Hayo is one of these people who gets out there and talks about climate in ways that are really accessible. Study up, understand what's going on, engage with people around you, build the consensus that we need in society, not just among scientists, to actually shift the debate and change it. So it's not about right or left. This is, it's all of us. It's we can all ask for more from our members in Parliament or whoever it is that we're making demands of, our local councils or whoever. letting those folks know that we think this is important is pretty fundamental to this.